Hello and welcome to the Fiona Small Show. My name is Fiona Small. Welcome to my show. I am joined today with a phenomenal guest. I have Desi Shepherd. Welcome to the Fiona Small Show. Thank you so much for joining me. Over to you, Desi. Introduce yourself and tell the audience all about you.
Firstly, thank you for having me here on your show today. My name is Desi Shepherd. I am a best-selling children's book author of 2 books now. And my most important job is being a mom overall. I'm a mom. So that's me.
Awesome. So welcome. I just want to say a big thank you. So you're an author. So tell me a bit about how you became an author. I know you've got an amazing story because you write children's books. Tell me how you embarked on that journey of becoming an author of writing children's books. Share with us a bit about that.
So I have always been a writer. It's something I've always wanted to do. As a child, I was always creating stories and jotting them down. To this day, my mom still has them. But during the pandemic, I had a lot of time on my hands, like a lot of people, with the lockdown.
Yes.
And as a way to relax, I just started writing more and more and creating these beautiful stories. And I figured, well, I shouldn't say I figured, I should say my best friend rang me one day while I was writing, and she just went into like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm writing the story. And she didn't believe me because although I've always been writing, I didn't really share it with a lot of people that I was a writer. And when she heard the story, she was like, this is amazing. You have to do something with this. So she really encouraged me to, push forward and publish my first book. And it happened in October of 2020. And it's just been an amazing ride so far. Like I said, I've become a best-selling author. Like I couldn't have asked for any more. And people are enjoying my stories. Children are enjoying my stories. It's crazy.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about the concept of the book. So you stumbled. So would you say, like, we've got to love best friends, right? They are the ones who really see things in us that sometimes we don't see, or we're there, but we need them to kind of draw them out of us. And the pandemic, like, what I find so amazing about this pandemic is not only was it a very negative situation, but out of it, there has been quite a range of positive outcomes with what people have discovered about themselves, what they have birthed, things that, ordinarily, I think not many of us would have done because life became so busy. But when we, had to be on standstill and find something different to occupy our time with, a lot of new things have been birthed. So share with us just how you turned such a negative circumstance as a global pandemic into something where you now have become the best-selling author. Like, what was the journey?
So I think for the pandemic, like me, it slowed me down. Like you said, like I was always rushing about the place, doing this or doing that, running from work, just the busy work of life. And I was able to create and really focus on a part of the population that's important to me, which is neurodiverse people, neurodiverse children, because I am that child. So I really had moments to sit down and reflect on my childhood and what I needed as a child, and then turn that all around into something that children could enjoy. So my stories are infused with little lessons about kindness and friendship, and maybe you learn about a new term or a segment of the population you weren't aware of before. I don't know. The pandemic helped me to really focus on those areas.
Focus on those areas. And it's interesting you mention about neurodiverse, because I think now what the world has become very, welcoming and accommodating to
Yeah.
neurodiverse adults and children. It's something that we have learned to accept, embrace, and normalize. And I'm really grateful because let's keep it real. None of us are all this, like our brains are wired so differently. Elaborate a little bit about how you discovered that you were a neurodiverse adult. Like, what was your kind of like, was there always something that you knew about? Was you felt a bit different? Did you study differently? Like, how did you really become to terms or acknowledge that actually, I view the world quite differently? What was your kind of, light bulb moment into this journey?
I cannot 100% say that this moment was mine alone.
Yeah.
I struggled in school, but I loved going to school, right?
Yeah.
I loved reading. You could always find me with a book underneath my arm, a book to the dinner table. That was me. But then when I would get to school, it just was such an arduous task. And
Yes.
I ended up getting into college, actually graduating high school. So that would be like ninth grade or 10th grade. I actually graduated early and went
Oh,
into college, and I couldn't hack it. I struggled. I struggled so much that I actually dropped out.
yeah.
And so, I mean, what else is there for me to do but then to go find a job, So I found a job and I ended up working at the school board for one of District 75 in New York City. That would be your special education district. And I
Yeah.
worked for the second woman in charge. And
Ah,
me, forever the bookworm, I would spend my lunch hours and a little introverted, even though I'm always talking now. I don't know. Another thing that came out of the pandemic, you can't shut me up. Um, you know, but I'm talking about something I love all the time, so it's easy.
that's
But
right.
my boss actually called me into her office one day, and I was like, "Oh my Lord, I'm about to get fired. Like, why does this woman want to talk to me? Close the door, sit down. I want nothing to do with this." And she said, "Why are you here? Like, why are you here? Why are you my secretary?" And I'm just like, I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Mm.
And she just said, "Why aren't you in college somewhere? Why aren't you out in the world making a difference, doing something other than being my secretary?" And then I
Wow.
started to tell her about my struggles in school. And she said, I think I know what's going on. Right.
Mm.
And as an educator, in all the years in education, surely she should be able to spot it. And so what she did was adjust my schedule that I could go and be tested. And I was tested, and that's when I found out that I have a learning disability, and that knowing that finally was like, oh, there's
Wow.
nothing wrong with me. I just process things differently, you know?
Yeah.
So I returned to college, and the girl who could almost never get it right, just always behind the class, I'm graduating being on the dean's list, like
Fantastic.
4.0, that my last semesters. So it changed my life, and it made me reach for things that I would have normally reached for. You
Yeah.
know?
So it
So,
took for somebody to literally identify and say, why are you here? You are so much more than my secretary. I mean, how powerful is that? And how beautiful is that, that somebody has identified just where you could be because she clearly saw something in you. And would you say you had a sense of relief when you realized, you know, it's just that my brain is wired differently. I process information differently and I view things differently. Would you say that there was a sense of like, oh, thank goodness? Or did you, because so I think sometimes, especially as, science has evolved and, we've really moved a long way to the kind of ideology that everyone learns the same, everyone's brain is the same, even
right,
education. I mean, if we were to go back centuries and centuries and centuries, it's still the same way that they're teaching. And we've got to realize that we all process information differently. Some of us are auditory learners, some of us are kinesthetic learners, some of us, we've got, when you think about all our five senses as well, there's
right.
different ways of how we process information and how we retrieve information. So it's super interesting to hear you say that actually this was spotted by somebody who you were their secretary, who could have easily well kept you in that space, because I bet you
Yeah.
was an absolutely fantastic secretary as well. So, you know, fast forward, you now have a diagnosis without adding labels to your name, but you have an understanding of
Right.
how you process information. Where has it led you in terms of the Desi that you are today? Because you said, thanks to the pandemic, you can't stop me talking. You've come out of yourself. Has that become because you kind of now realize, you know what, this is who I am? Where did it come from?
I It is. I've leaned into my gifts.
Wow.
So it's a friend of mine sent me a picture of our high school yearbook.
Mm,
And in the yearbook, it said that I would be a nurse. I said I would be a nurse and a
mhm.
writer. And
Yes.
the nurse part, coming from a Caribbean background, that's what my parents wanted for me. But the writer is what I always wanted to be. And now I feel like I understand my purpose. I don't know if that's cliche or what, but I understand why I'm here. And
Mm,
I understand what my job is while I'm
yeah,
on this earth, is to create these stories that um, children can enjoy and identify with.
yeah, yeah.
So it's easy for me. I mean, if you want to talk about books, I could talk all day. If you want to talk about the joy that I feel when I see children holding my books, yes, I can talk about that all day.
Wow. So you've just got a heart for children as well. And I suppose, would you say that's kind of like your maternal instinct, or would it be that you really realized that actually, because you were probably, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but misunderstood as a child, or you saw things differently, you know, the world around you was quite different. And then, you know, in your adulthood, which it seems to be a very common trait now, that people who are neurodiverse or who have a different understanding of the world are understanding things very late. And I'm a mother of a neurodiverse child who had to take some time to really accept. I'm still learning
Mhm.
more about him, more how he sees the world, you know, more about me and my patience and, you know, my tolerance. Can
Yes.
I say that? Because it's different. And I'm also, I'd like to share this, embarking on the journey myself, because I feel that, you know, there are things that hereditary,
Mhm.
and there is probably something in the bloodline. You know, my sister also is dyslexic. My niece was recently diagnosed with autism, and my son has ADHD. So I'm really kind of, and I'm thinking, because of how I work and how I do things, and you know, there's traits in entrepreneurs that we definitely have. You know, we're great, aren't we? We have, I call them our superpowers. Like in this household, we use only positive terms when we're in discussing it. It's never anything negative, and I refer to them as superpowers. So I know I have superpowers.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And you should feel free to assign whatever label or terms
Yeah.
or positive feeling you can to these things. You
Yes.
know, it made what you said made me think about my mom asking me, you know, a few months ago, like, okay, so I hear you talking about this all the time, and what are you going to do to fix it? And
Wow.
I'm like, there's nothing to fix. I'm
Wow.
great the way I am. A
Mm,
thousand thoughts rush into my mind in 1 second. Like I'm talking to you right now, and I'm thinking about 13 other different things, trying to
yeah.
push them back.
Yeah.
But that serves me well in
Definitely.
life. You
Yeah.
know, I'm able to, it's
Yeah.
in here is like a huge puzzle, and I'm
Yeah.
able to pull it down into these pieces. I have to quickly so I can function in society. And
Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
I
Um,
think.
a, a
Yeah.
lot of companies are leaning towards hiring neurodiverse people for these same reasons.
Mm,
It just would help the world so much better if we embrace people who thought differently. Why are we all even expected to learn in the same way when no one of us is the same?
that's right.
Why
And
would we all learn in the same way?
We wouldn't. And the thing is what's interesting that you've discovered about yourself is that, you know what, you all these senses are, present, and you're able to kind of still function, hold down a conversation, regardless if it's the brain, or the mind starts to wander. And also with the kind of regulation, the self-regulation that comes with it. Would you say that, because now that you're kind of in a realm where, when it comes to business, when it comes to managing your home, when it comes to raising your children, now giving back to other children as well, and becoming a best-selling author, like, let's put that on the table. How have you, come on now, we got to celebrate you. How do we kind of share with others? Because I'm one of the things that I love about us as women, how resourceful we are, how resilient we are, tolerant we are, and just how much we carry. And take neurodiversity out of it, just on a whole, if you think about the things that we do and juggle on a day-to-day basis, it takes a special type of human being
Yeah.
to be able to kind of juggle it all, and we don't often give ourselves that recognition or that acknowledgement. And what this show is really about is to highlight, showcase, celebrate, amplify, and cheerlead all of the women. I've got some amazing women in my network. Desi, I salute you. I admire what you're doing. You were also one of our panelists for the Single Parent Day Summit that we held back in March. And I just love your journey. I love what you've done with everything that, against all the odds, every obstacle that you may have, embarked on in life, but you've not allowed that to define you, stop you. If anything, it's just allowed you to just elevate. So, if we've got women that will tune into this and be watching it and be feeling like, do you know what? I feel stuck in the rut, or motherhood. We ain't even got onto the kind of topic
Right.
of being a single mum. What words of encouragement, like what are your tools in your toolbox that you dig deep into when it's time for Desi to say, right, time to power up. I've got this boy to raise. I know that you're a mother of two. Talk to me about, because I know we're both got 10-year-olds, right? And we're both raising sons in today's society.
Yeah.
What is that like? And how can we, encourage other women in similar shoes to us?
You just made me sound so amazing.
You are, girl.
Thank you. But I also at the same time want other women listening to know that I have moments where I'm just overwhelmed.
Yes.
And I need to recalibrate everything and refocus. And I do a lot of, again, another term that people hear a lot of, self-care.
Good.
I found that I need that in my life. I need some time to press the pause button on my life. And it's not always easy as a single parent to get that. But I have a community of women around me that are supportive of my dream and what I'm trying to accomplish. And so I would say surround yourself by good people.
Wow.
Number one. And really focus on that self-care. And when I say we can't always, I was just flitting around the States for 5 days. We can't always do that. But I take 90 minutes. I steal 90 minutes and I go get a massage. And that's my quiet time where I'm just like listening to my Andrea Bocelli, and listening to that, putting that in my ear and just tuning everything else out. And that's hard for the first couple of minutes because the way my brain works, I'm like, shut it down, shut it down, shut it down.
Yeah.
But that's what I do to get myself through and recharge and start back in this journey of like being a new small business, being a mom and being a mom with ADHD, with a child that has the same thing. Because sometimes we are both
stimming. Yeah. And just funny you say that. Do you know what's really interesting, Desi, is that the other day I decided to challenge myself and I booked myself into a beautiful hotel. I stayed in the Crown Suite all by myself. And I thought, do you know what? There are some things that I've just needed to just say, right, God, I'm handing this over to you. I need some me time. I am like you, I'm running a business, I'm managing a team, I'm managing my household, my children, both of them have activities. My son, his schedule's getting busier and busier and busier. And I feel like sometimes I am just this mother on the go constantly. And last weekend, can I just say this to you? I decided to just spontaneously say, right, Fiona, go and do you. Go and book yourself some time away. And do you know what's really funny? I'm going to share this with you. You see, when I called to see, is there any reservations, any available rooms? I was like, yeah. And then I said, what, do you have the Crown Suite available? I was like, yeah. I said, I'd like to book it. And it's a double room, it's a big room. And obviously it was just for me. And suddenly I thought, I wonder if I sound a bit strange, doing this by myself.
Right.
But you know what, Desi? I felt so empowered when I got there and I just put my cases down. I ordered room service. I brought my journal. I've got this devotional book that I'm reading by Cindy Trim, Command Your Morning. I love that book right now. That's what I read every day. And literally put on some music. I was in the room and I was dancing and I was just celebrating me. I had this beautiful kind of like just time alone. And I said to myself, do you know what? I'm going to make this a thing. I'm going to make it because, in an ideal world, Desi, did I plan to be raising these children by myself? No. Did I think that it was going to be, bells and whistles and happily ever after and me and my chariot and my Prince Charming by my side? Yeah, he's not here yet. Time just hasn't caught up. I know he's coming, right? But in the interim, I decided that, do you know what, Fiona? It's how you respond to things. And I've been really concentrating on my self-talk a lot more, how I'm treating myself, the things that, sometimes you can easily begin to think about what you don't have and miss what you do have.
Yes.
And there's a privilege in being able to kind of date yourself, spend time with yourself, have some me time, as you rightly said, those massages that you get, that time to listen to your music and just zone out for a while, and giving yourself 90 minutes, like with all that you do. Hello, you should be so entitled to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm wanting us to really begin to unapologetically feel okay to look after yourself. The self-care element, and I know you said it's cliche, it's absolutely not a cliche. I think we are now realizing as women of color as well, that we are entitled to look after ourselves. We are entitled to that pause, as you mentioned, that time out for me, because you're running a small business. That's a lot of your time. You're managing another neurodiverse human being whilst managing your own stuff. On top of it, there's more responsibility. So, I just think that the season that we're all in is really exciting. Wouldn't you agree? It's like,
yes, it is. It is. I feel like this is an exciting time in my life. My mom looked at me the other day. I sent her some pictures for a while I was away. I really did enjoy myself last week. Like I went to a concert. I had dinner. Like I did all the things. I just had a good time. And my mom looked at a picture and she was like, you're getting a second chance.
Wow.
I don't know if you'll get a third.
Yeah.
But embrace this time.
Yeah.
She's like, you're being rebirthed. And just embrace this time and enjoy this time because it goes so fast. And one day you'll wake up and you'll be me sitting in she was sitting in the driveway in the chair, catching the breeze. And she said, it's the best time of your life. Enjoy it.
That's amazing. I love your mum already because, no, that's beautiful and well done. Isn't it amazing when you've got mothers that can really pour into you, your own mother, identifying that, you've got a special glow. There's something about you right now. This is your time. This is your season. Embrace it. And that's all we all need to have our cheerleaders. We all need to have those people behind us that are going to champion us and say, look, I've got you. One of the beautiful things about my mother's is what I love about her is that she really does believe in me. She's so proud. Sometimes she says, I'm really proud of what you've done, what you've achieved, what you've managed to build and what you've birthed. Because a lot of what we've done, Desi, has come from a place of pain. It's come from a place of rejection, of isolation, of disappointment. A lot of people wouldn't even know where to begin. I mean, there's times when we could have, as you rightly agree, we could have sat and wallowed, but we chose to say, right, as you said, it does get hard. It's not always a bed of roses. We know when to press the stop and pause button, but we dust ourselves off and we get back up, and that's what's important. One thing that I really want to be that encouragement of for women, especially those who have, had life deal them some cards, because Desi, come on, life has dealt us some hands and we've managed to kind of dive from the darts, they may have grazed us a little bit, but they haven't bruised us too hard. We've recovered, and healed from some of the things that I think I would say sometimes were sent to destroy us. And we've managed to come out standing, still fighting, maybe a bit wounded, but we're still fighting the good fight.
I feel like you should let that hurt push you, propel you forward.
Yeah.
Take that and push it into something great. Yeah. I feel like that's all you can do. Life is not perfect. I have to keep moving.
Yeah.
And I'm a mom and I'm raising a child, so I don't have the luxury of just laying down and wallowing in my pain. I have to keep pushing forward, and that's what I would encourage every woman to do. You have to keep things happen, keep pushing forward, and let something great come from it. And I, even a few months ago, I was trying to work out a project with a few other people, and it didn't turn out exactly how I thought it was going to be. Yeah. And I looked at it, but as soon as it happened, as soon as I realized that it was not going to be what I envisioned, it wasn't going to work out, I didn't get upset. I just said, this space is not for me. And another idea birthed from that. Wow. And that's how I started my partnership with the Girl Scouts of Greater New York. Like that came out of something else not working out, and I was like, this turned out far better than I could have ever imagined. That space was not for me.
That wasn't for you.
Something else was for me.
Something greater was lurking in the horizon. And if you were to put that into context in life on a whole, even sometimes, let's keep it real, relationships that don't work, and even business ventures, you mentioned, how you healed your disappointment. Sometimes it's all about our attitude to things. I've grown some big girl pants when it comes to business. There's some things that I think earlier on in the days used to kind of tickle me or step on my corn. Now I'm so accepting, like I want the best for everyone. And I'm realizing that, what? Alignment and the right people and the right timing and synergy and purpose all have a way of just synchronizing. And you see, synchronicity is something that a lot of us need to recognize is so important, because that we can fight against the grain. We can work against the grain. Something's not working. Come on now, we're women. Let's keep this. Let's there are relationships we're like, you finished a long time ago, but you know what? I'm going to allow this to play out until we kind of, we sever these ties. Just like in business, where you think, sometimes it's just the energy. And sometimes, do you know what I'm learning? I think it's even better to preserve the friendship than to actually embark on a business kind of relationship that deep down, if your gut and your discernment and your instinct is saying, don't go there.
Don't go there.
That intuition, never, ever, ever ignore it. It's there for a purpose. It's there for a reason. It's there to guide you when you go against it, like we all have. I'm guilty of it. It will then show its face. And look what's manifested as a result of your obedience and you recognizing that I'm going to realize that this is not where the direction is supposed to go, but better was ahead. How beautiful.
Yes. So I'm not at all, when I think about that situation, I'm not at all angry that it didn't work out. I'm just like, it's okay. And the outcome was far better than I could have imagined. I'm really pleased with it.
Yeah.
Just even working with the Girl Scouts, I was a little girl that was in the Girl Scouts, and my mom didn't have money for me to have the uniform and all that stuff. And sometimes they did things that I couldn't do. So now I'm partnering with them, and
Yeah.
hopefully I'll be able to reach some little girls. I feel like
Yeah.
everything that I'm doing almost is selfish.
Yeah.
Almost is selfish because I'm thinking about the little me, and it's
Yeah.
guiding me as I move. Like, as I don't want anyone to feel how I felt as a
Yeah.
little girl. Like, if I can avoid them having those feelings,
Yes.
not having, or like feeling less than, just anything I can do to have them avoid that.
Yeah.
I want
And
to.
that is selfless. That's not selfish, because that is something where what you're basically doing, you know what it feels like to be in those shoes. And you're also saying, do you know what? If I can make another little girl's life that less, kind of burdened, where they're feeling less than, or, I can't do this because mummy or daddy doesn't have this, or they're not able to kind of go on. And you're there to say, come on, Auntie Desi got you. I can help
Yeah.
you out here. That's amazing. That is truly amazing. And see yourself as, what I'm learning about life and life's lessons, and, the cards that we sometimes dealt, is in our pain and in our experiences and in some of the negative stuff that has happened to us. It is also to help others, to use your story and your experience to say, I've been there. I know what this feels like. I can relate to that. I can
Mhm.
identify with that. I'm like, my daughter will be 17 in October. And there's one young mum that I've been supporting over a period of time, since earlier on this year. And she was me, like literally 17 years ago. And I said to her, you were 24-year-old me, 17 years ago. I know what it is to feel what you're feeling. I know what it is to be that single mom and feel rejected, and, have this baby and think,
Yeah.
am I equipped to do this? I've been there. And being able to encourage and support, and pass it on, that baton and that mantle, to say, girl, you can do this. If I can do it, you sure can do it. And that's what we need more of. Desi, we're living in a world of uncertainty right now. We're living in peculiar, uncertain,
Times.
unprecedented times that none of us in history have experienced. This is a new way. You look at even the way that we're connecting with each other now. It's amazing to think what technology is doing for us. I'm
Right.
in the UK, you're in the US. We're still able to make things work and have these high level conversations and empower and inspire others. But what I would love us to do as women who are going to continue to blaze our trail, continue to leave that legacy and that mark, and amplify our voices in a way where we're shining our light and we're helping others to shine also. Because, when you shine, we shine, together we all shine. And I believe that this movement of us as overcomers, as women who really understand the concept of elevation, but elevating others, there is a shift taking place. Your mother, for her to see something in you, to say, this is your time, don't let it pass, this is your season. Like, I get chill blades just knowing that something in the atmosphere is about to really transpire, and we're in for a beautiful experience. Because we have to realize that, our destiny, greatness is our destiny, is our portion. We have to speak over our lives. And no matter what some of these obstacles, that have presented, and no matter where these bumps have come in the road, because we've all had bumps, Desi, come on, we've all had bumps, and
Right.
we've all had, like I said, storms that we've had to weather and darts that we've had to duck. But we've managed to still overcome and somehow still pass it on, pass that mantle on, still encourage and not be bitter. Look how beautifully radiant you are. People say to me, gosh, Fiona, you're glowing. When I see women like you, I know that it's because you're not bitter about your stuff. You've released those who you need to. I say to myself, if I held on to every hurt and every disappointment, I think I'd be wriggled with all bitter, you know,
Yeah.
bitterness. But that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. You've got to release, you've got to release others, you've got to release yourself. You've got to know that actually through it all, what was the lesson and taking ownership. I mean, if we were to kind of go down the pathway of taking ownership and responsibility to sometimes the things that present that you think actually I didn't deserve it, but what was my role? How would you describe ownership to you? Because if I go first, I'll say ownership to me would be sometimes it's been disobedience because I know that I shouldn't have even entertained or embarked or encountered an individual or a circumstance, and the byproduct has been, well, Fiona, this is the consequence. What would you say in terms of like, taking ownership and responsibility? What's been your biggest thing? How have you managed that?
I feel like I hoped for something. I wanted something, and
Mm,
I was so focused on attaining that thing that I ignored what was going on around me in
wow.
pursuit of it. So I kind of landed myself in this place, and
Mm,
I had to acknowledge that,
yeah.
and then and the more I thought about it, is this picture that I had in my mind that I was chasing.
Mm,
Not It wasn't real because I had that. I was chasing having a family, but families look different. Oh,
yes.
there's different types of families, and I had that, and I was surrounded by this love
Wow.
already. And somehow in instances, as I was trying to pursue that love, I was pushing love away.
Wow.
And I
Yeah.
understand that about myself now. And I'm approaching things. I'm excited about now. I'm
Yeah.
excited about what's to
Yeah.
come in the future.
Yeah.
I'm so like I really mean it, because I have a different outlook on life. This is almost where I am in life now, is almost like when I received my diagnosis, and
Yes.
the world just opened up. Like, I don't know, this happens every couple of years. I have an awakening, and
Yeah.
yeah.
But when did you I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. When did you get to that point? Like, talk me through that, because I think that's a key thing that you're describing here, because we all been guilty. I personally can listen. You just spoke into my soul right there. It's like you were mirroring exactly me. There was me that were fixated on something, this just a year ago, and believed in it, even though there were cracks, even though there were red flags, even though there were things that I were like, no, 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 no. If this was going to happen, it should have happened by now. But I was literally ready to just kind of ride along until it all came crashing down. What for you was that moment of actually it was me that was, when did you get to that point, and how, teach us, how do you get to there?
Teaching.
Yeah.
um
Okay.
um I feel, you know, after the whole thing imploded, right? And
Yeah.
I'm by myself, and I'm like, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
Right? I have to start over.
Mm.
And in order for me to start over, I need to understand how I landed myself in this place to begin with. And
Wow.
I just started replaying, because people always say, you you had the signs, right? That's afterwards. You just,
Yeah.
when you were in it, like, what was happening when I was in it that made me just ignore
Yeah.
the glaring, flashing red signals? What was it about me that had me there? Um,
Wow.
I had to because it couldn't all have been the other person, right?
Yeah.
I had to bear some responsibility for where we were, how we got there. And I just started thinking about what did I do? Not, when you hear people say, what did you bring to the table?
Yeah.
Like, what did you do?
Yeah.
And
Well,
what was your role in this? Like,
yeah.
how was that other person able to get off what they've done? How? Like, what did I do to allow that? And I just started thinking about my role there, and taking responsibility for me.
Yeah. Agree. And it releases you, don't you think? Taking like ownership and responsibility. Sometimes it's like, actually, it's, Whitney saying, it's not right, but it's okay. It's not right. But guess what? It's okay. I'm going to take responsibility for my role, my contribution, and I'm going to kind of allow for me to accept it and then unpack it in a way where you're like, how could you? Because what I love what you're saying now is like, what does this next chapter look like? For me, my new slogan is my next chapter will be my best chapter. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm looking forward to, just like the excitement that you have, the acceptance, when you arrive at a stage in your life where you can just be you can be comfortable with your flaws, warts and all, and just like, do you know what, I can accept me, I like me, I don't always get things right, and I've made some interesting choices. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm going to surround myself with positive people of influence, people that can speak into me positively and help me to do better, and show me what I'm grateful for as well. It's having people sometimes to unpick and point out some of your flaws, not to tear you down, but just to kind of correct you, because that corrects you in love, correct you where it's like, no, Desi, maybe you don't respond like that, girl. Or even if you say you want to while out online or on social media, like, girl, you got places to go, you need to take that post.
I definitely have those. Definitely.
Take it out. Exactly. Write it in the journal. Type that long email. Don't send it, but get it out of you, and then deal with it after. Do you know, we are now in a time in our lives where if we're not careful, we will think, anything goes without consequence. But when you know that actually everything has a consequences, good, bad, or ugly, it's important that you, as an adult, we're all adulting now, make sure that those consequences, those little people that call us mum, are going to be proud to say, guess what? That's my mum, not that's my mum.
Right. I think about it. And I think I'm safe on that front as long as I don't start dancing on TikTok or anything.
Exactly. And doing all of that. It's funny you say that. One of my son had his friend over, and I think she must have seen my phone, and she went, your mum's got TikTok. And my son went, yeah, as if to say, yeah, my mum got TikTok. But she was like, your mum's got TikTok.
Right. Well, there was a point where I did not have it, where he erased it from my phone. So I've agreed to not do any of the dances, even though some of them are calling me.
Yeah. I haven't quite figured them out as yet. So when you work it out, when I'm ready to do my dances, I'm gonna be like, Desi,
let's do it.
Yeah, we should, innit? We should do a tag team one.
Oh my gosh. He's literally in the room with me shaking his head like,
no, mama, no.
He's getting this right now.
He's probably like, she said TikTok dances. That's so funny. So talk to us about, like, as we're coming down, well, tell us about some of the future plans. Where do you we get access to your books? What's next? What's the next book coming out, or the next project? Like, what's happening? What can we look forward to?
So I am really excited over the next couple of months to be releasing a book in October. And I co-authored it with my son. Super excited about that. We're going to release it for Halloween. So, oh my gosh, I can't wait to share it with everyone. I kind of let him take the lead, and create this story. It's a little different from what I normally do. And so we're going to be doing that. I'm also going to be releasing Cassidy and the Mixed Up Numbers, which is my first book, the Spanish version of it.
Wow.
So I'm really excited. I just want all children to be able to read and enjoy this book. My daughter is a Spanish speaker, so this is like happiness for her.
Yes.
I also, I'm working on a whole nother book. I'm just continuing to write, and create stories that hopefully people enjoy, children enjoy, parents want to buy.
Yes.
My books can be found on Amazon.com, Amazon UK, Barnes and Nobles, Books a Million, Walmart, Target. Oh my gosh. Like every time I say the names of the places that you can go online and get my book, it's like it's insane to me. It's insane. So
that's amazing.
And
you've been an author. How long would you say, from like beginning to end, how long did it take for you to kind of get from ideas to writing to publishing now to where it's on the shelf and online where people can purchase, from beginning to end overall? How long did that take, that journey?
I started last July,
wow.
a year ago, putting the story to paper, the process of creating my own publishing house and releasing my books. Just over a year. So I started in July, I released in October. It became a bestseller in January, I believe.
Wow.
So, and it's still Cassidy. Wait, I have it because I always have it, but Cassidy and the Mixed Up Numbers today is on the bestseller list. I think when I checked, it was number 10 on Amazon in my category. So 10, yeah. So it's been amazing. It's been amazing.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. I mean, you should, for a year, 1 year, and look at the achievement. I mean, I am just in awe. I salute you. I celebrate you. I think you are truly amazing. I look forward to more that's coming. And I'm so excited about just watching your journey. I can't wait till we can meet at the airport and be like, Desi.
I know.
We should do like a UK tour for you. You know, there's so much that would be amazing to be able to do, a book signing event. There's so much to be done. And I'm looking forward to just seeing just exactly how God's going to work out all things for you, because I know, and you know, that greatness is ahead. And I just want you to just continue to trust, continue to believe, just keep shining, keep rising, and don't let nothing stop you, because this path that you're on, Desi, you know that you've been ordained for this. You know, this is your time. And as your mother, and I second her, as your mother says, you know, you may not get this back, but just embrace it and enjoy it. So well done. And, you know, I just want to say a big thank you for joining me on the show today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I love the way that, you know, we can just ramble as just two girlfriends, just having a conversation and just talking about life and talking about business and motherhood and just everything, relationships and situationships and everything that coupled with it all. But you know, I'm just grateful, and I just want to say big thank you. Shout out your socials as well so people can follow you. I'll be tagging them in this post as well, so shout out all the socials that you can people can follow you on.
Yes, I'm Desi Shepherd across all platforms. DeziShepherd across all platforms. Instagram, Facebook, everywhere.
Excellent.
So catch me there.
Excellent. And I just want to say a big thank you for those that are watching live and those that will catch on the replay. This is the Fiona Small Show. I am here every other Monday with a phenomenal guest. Today I had Desi Shepherd, who is an author. She has a new book coming out in October. You won't want to miss that. Follow her on all of her social networks. I'll be tagging her. Follow the Fiona Small Show. Send us your DMs and your emails. Let's just continue to rise. Let's just continue to shine. Let's continue to spread love. Stay safe, everybody. Just remember that this pandemic is still there. COVID-19 hasn't gone anywhere. Let's keep ourselves safe. Check in on your friends and families and loved ones. And I just want to say a big thank you to everyone for watching the Fiona Small Show.
Your brief. And when he said master your brief, I was thinking, what do you mean master my brief? And what I did was I really have done that. I've mastered my brief to the extent where I can quote stats, I can quote this, I can draw for reports and journals, and we've done focus groups on this, that and the other, and then now people are like, whoa, okay, she knows that exactly what she's talking about because I had to master my brief.
Most definitely, you got it. Because that is so important. Master your brief.